Need to improve your club on Ultimate Team? Check out IGDM for safe and reliable coins with the link in the description. Get an extra 5% discount with code NA. What's good, y'all? For this video, I'm gonna show you guys the 3-4-2-1. These custom tactics are inspired from Xabi Alonso's Leverkusen that have been dominating the Bundesliga, as you can see. And honestly, even though the game right now, the meta is oriented around things like the 4-2-3-1 and blah blah blah, all those 4 at the back formations, with the release of really good attacking fullbacks like Reece James, Grimaldo, and things like that, I have found formations like this one in particular to be really fun and honestly really good as well. Like, I normally don't say these things in my videos, but this custom tactic right here is honestly like so good. Like, I'm so like confident that the meta of this game is going to completely flip soon. And we'll talk more about it as we get closer to the actual tactics, but you'll notice that with these custom tactics, the team gets so much more involved in the build-up when it comes to attacking AI movement, especially out wide, obviously. So if you're ever playing and you're realizing like your build-up is just really difficult, way harder than it needs to be, you're not getting passing options, especially down the middle, please try out these tactics. And yeah, going straight into the instructions, as you saw, I was 7-0 with these tactics, so they're really good, honestly. And before I also continue, I just wanted to really quickly mention this guy right here. I'm not going to say his name because I'm scared I'm going to mess it up, but let me see his stats. Yeah, 14 games, 25 goals, 6 assists. I know this isn't a 93 version, but if you can do the 90, that's good enough in my opinion. This card is just insane, bro. Like, having 5-star skill moves with rapid plus and finesse plus is all you need, to be honest. Everything else will just line itself up together. But this is irrelevant. This is not custom tactics, obviously. To really talk about the custom tactics, as you can see, we're going to go to custom tactics. I have it set to attacking, but I would absolutely consider this a defensive formation, primarily because of how many options you're going to have in defense. I did find myself conceding way less goals previously, especially after this recent patch. You know, every game was like 5-6, 4-5, things like that. Just like games with a lot of goals in them. And literally my games went from that to like 4-1, 5-2. Like, I'm defensively, like, I'm really solid with this formation. So yeah, this is a pretty good defensive formation, although it's still obviously going to be really good in the attack. And you're going to see we have defensive style balance, 39 width and 66 depth. I know that even though we have basically 5 defenders, it can be really tempting to do something like really low, because we'll be like, oh yeah, we can really close down the middle, but that's not going to be necessary. You only need 39. That way, now the people that try to, use pace down the wings, now they're going to have an even bigger issue because now they have to beat your wingbacks. And then 66 depth, this is one of the things within this tactic that you can change to be whatever you want it to be personally. If you want to be one of those people that still use 71 today, go right ahead, be my guest. I just use 66 because I was tinkering with it and I felt most confident with 66. But you can do anything between 60 to 71 in my opinion. Anything too low and it's just making the other team basically have less pressure to attack. Anything too high and your team's going to be doing too much and opening up too much spaces. But if you're in between, don't worry about it. And then for the first time, I could finally say we're trying something that isn't direct passing. Finally, we're doing long ball forward runs. Firstly, the reason why we do long ball is to put an extra emphasis on our attacking wingbacks. So now once you get the ball, you'll notice that since basically the build-up goes through the width very often, those like wide players are just going to bomb the wings. And those players are more often not going to be open because people are playing really narrow defenses nowadays. So you're going to want long ball for them to bomb down the wings in the build-up, not in the final third, because once you get into the final third, when we get into the instructions, you notice that these wingbacks turn into actual attackers. But for the build-up, we need the long ball to basically enable them to make runs deep while still being an option to be passed to. And then chance creation forward runs. Like I said, I'm so excited that I finally found a way to get a meta formation without having to use direct passing and bounced. And I found forward runs to be really useful because you'll notice that in this formation there's going to be a lot of through balls into pockets of space where the defensive AI is just not going to do anything about it. Especially if you have players that have rapid plus or quick step plus or just 99 pace to begin with, you're going to be absolutely toasting defenders. And then 65 width. I know other people with formations like this, they might recommend you to do 75 plus. However, I'll go into more detail when we get to player instructions, but we want 65 primarily because these wingbacks that we have, the wide midfielders, we're going to actually have them involved in the attack. Like, when I say that, I'm saying we're going to have them in the box, they're going to be having chances to shoot, they're going to be making unique AI movement to the point where sometimes they might even act as strikers whenever there's a space in the box. So we put them on 65 instead of anything higher because we don't want them to hug the touchline and just all they're going to do from that position is just spam cutbacks and crosses, and we want them to be able to do more than just that. So we're going to have it on 65. And then we're gonna have 6 players in the box. Even though with this formation, I was really tempted to use 7, but that was just gonna be way too much. But 6 I found to be the perfect amount because both of these wingbacks will now have the space for them to get into the box for the attack without having to, like get in the way of your 3 actual main people up front. And they won't also get in the way of your box-to-box midfielder, as you'll see when we get into the player instructions. But yeah, 6 players in the box, 3 corners, and I love 3 corners primarily because, especially with this formation, you're going to have a player at the edge of the box, so I'm able to just pass it to the edge of the box. So if you don't have good center backs for crosses, people that have aerial plus, if that's not something you have, just get 3 corners, pass to the edge of the box, cook from there, or just pass short, do what you want to do, to be honest. And then 2 free kicks, most useless custom tactic or custom setting, to be honest. And then before I go ahead and show you guys the instructions, our Discord just hit 1,000 members, which is a bit of an achievement. So if you're looking for a FIFA Discord where things like, you can discuss things like, the market, daily content, SBCs, player reviews, anything like that, you can find the link in the description. Also, if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe. My next goal is, I want to say 50k, but I feel like that's asking for too much. But yeah, if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe. And then going into instructions, before I begin, I just want to really briefly mention, this is going to get pretty confusing, so it's worth noting, like I said earlier, the whole objective is to replicate Bayer Leverkusen. So we do things with this tactic a little bit different than what the meta would normally suggest, primarily because we're trying to get a perfect balance between a meta gameplay and also a custom tactics that replicate, a real life authentic team. And with that being said, you can see our striker right here is going to be on balance with getting behind, stay forward. And that's a change primarily because you'll notice that I don't have this guy on, or this girl, or this woman on stay central when I normally do. And the reason why I have it on balance with is because with these 2 strikers with him, or forwards, normally the combination of having balance with getting behind allows that striker to make a lot of diagonal runs. And if you're wondering why diagonal runs are so important, especially with these custom tactics, it's going to allow your 2 other forwards to take over that space whenever this player decides to make a run. Specifically when Mia Hamm right here decides to make a diagonal run, now Cole Palmer will end up dragging into that space that's now wide open. And this is where it gets even more fun, because even when Cole Palmer's in a better position to make his own run, guess what? Now your wingbacks can now go into that space in the box that's now wide open if Mia Hamm was fortunately able to drag a center back out of position. The whole point of this formation is once we get to the box, the other players just going to be overloaded of attacking options from your behalf that he just completely doesn't expect. Because who expects Reece James to be bomb of the box, And he's got the stats for it, He's scored and assisted plenty of times so far with me. But yeah, balance with getting behind, stay forward. You might notice that this striker might not score as many goals, but that's okay because guess what? Now the wingers and the wing backs, they'll be scoring a lot more goals. And then your left and right forward, starting on the left side, you're going to have stay central, mix attack, come back on defense. Think of this player as the Florian Wirtz of the team. These instructions basically allow the player to replicate like a attacking playmaker in a sense, because the whole point of come back on defense isn't to actually act as another defender, but when you get the ball back in defense, you can have a player that comes short for the ball and receives the ball to their feet, and then right off the bat, they can launch for a counterattack. And then once you get to the other team's box, you'll notice that they're basically playing like a bit of a wide cam position instead of an actual winger. That's why we don't have this player on get in behind, primarily because we want this player to basically have the defense in front of him, because like I said, it's like a cam right here. So put a player right here that you trust to have really good dribbling, someone like Ginola would be perfect. Garuncho would be pretty good as well. Really just anyone that just has really good dribbling, to the point where you're able to control them and beat players in front of you really easily. And then on the right side right here, you're going to have stay central, getting behind, basic, everything else. Now, firstly, the first objective is the fact that we have stay central on this guy and stay central on other players as well, just to make sure they're not imposing space out wide. What I mean by that is we don't need these players to go out wide and then have the wingbacks basically switch positions for them, because we want this player right here to be in the box more often than not than the wingbacks, because the wingbacks are just going to act as an extra option and overwhelm the other team whenever possible. So if I put this guy on, even balance, it's just going to be annoying, because then he will end up dragging out wide, and then Zanetti will be ending up taking a spot too many times, and we don't want that. We want our player right here to be in the box, and then Zanetti to go in the box as well. But other than that, this player will act as basically like a second striker. For the most part in the counterattack or in the attack to begin with in the structure, he'll be right next to your striker. So it's really important that you get someone with really good pace. So Mbappe right here would be perfect. Or really just anyone that just has really good pace and also really good shooting, obviously. And then here's where it actually starts to get fun. You're gonna have your right wing back come back on defense, balance with, get in behind, get into the box for cross, and you're gonna do the exact same thing on your left side. Now you might be wondering, why do we have balance with? We can be doing stay wide because isn't that the objective? Now, unless you want to spam crosses and have no useful, like, if you don't want the objective to be overwhelming the other player with attacking options, then go ahead, put it on stay wide. Because the reality is, with balance with, because let's be honest, everyone at this stage of the game hopefully has really good attacking fullbacks. If you have Reece James, Grimaldo, Zanetti, Cafu, players that you just trust to have good dribbling, can finish the ball, things like that, those type of players can operate pretty well in the box now. So we're at the stage of the game where formations like this are usable. And in combination with our previous tactics that we set earlier with the forward runs and long ball, as well as the fact that this player and the other one is on get in behind with get into the box for cross, the movement that our three players will make up here in conjunction, when these guys are not scoring, they're going to be dragging defenders out of position that these wide players will more often than not be taking. They'll be running into spaces and pockets of space that these players opened up. And this is completely different to my previous formations because normally when I had a front three or a front two that's opening up spaces, it'll be one of the midfielders that take the space, but now you have these wide midfielders taking up the space. And that's what really makes this formation so much fun because one, that very well replicates what, Bayer Leverkusen are doing in real life. You have Frimpong and Grimaldo bombing the box unexpectedly, scoring way more goals than you would expect from a fullback. But it's also just really unexpected because, like I said earlier, who expects Reece James to bomb the box out of nowhere for a through run and shrug off Van Dijk and score a banger, Likewise goes with Zanetti. Who's expecting that? And that's what also makes this formation so much fun because I can literally pretend that when I'm on the joystick or the controller, I literally feel like Xabi Alonso. But yeah, on the right side, you can have Rolfo is such a perfect card, but that's irrelevant. You can have your box-to-box midfielder, balanced attack, and cover center. And then you can have your other midfielder on stay back while attacking cover center. This is pretty trademark of basically any of my formations that have two center mids. You always want to do that because that's going to basically act as a perfect double pivot. There's no point changing it up, honestly. Although it is very, very important that your stay back while attacking CDM player, please, if it's possible, get someone with long ball plus. So if you have Bruno's one of the best cards in the game in my honest opinion. Don't let his defending stats fool you. This guy's defending is honestly better than Rolfo's. And his long ball pass plus is going to be so perfect because you can just set up your wide midfielders over and over and over again. That also just makes possession much easier because Bruno Fernandes, I believe he has the tiki-taka play style. I think he might have incisive. He also has Travella, so he's able to hit long balls and passes to begin with from unique angles and get unique animations out of them. So it's really hard to basically dispossess Bruno Fernandes. But yeah, your three center backs right here, obviously you want to want them on default, and then your keeper is going to be on comes across as sweeper keeper. I basically already spoiled what made this formation so good, but it's the fact that at this stage of the game, everyone has good attacking fullbacks now. So there's no point in not trying a formation like this. Because let's be honest, you can score a banger easily with Grimaldo, Rolfo, Reece James, all those type of cards that are fullbacks and have really good attacking stats. And it's just going to get even better the closer we get to, team of the season or footies or things like that, where the fullbacks are going to start having 90 shooting and whatever. But really the whole point behind that is to basically maximize the amount of goal scoring opportunities that those players are going to get. In a similar fashion to, obviously, like I said earlier, which is the point of this video, to be Bayer Leverkusen's attacking fullbacks with Grimaldo and Frimpong. Because although this formation is not meta right now, like something inside of me is just so confident that this formation will very quickly become the meta to begin with. Because if it wasn't obvious already, this formation does replicate the 4-3-2-1, except in the only difference in attack is that instead of the 4-3-2-1 humiliating the other team's defenders through a lot of midfielders in the middle, instead of those central midfielders, now you're going to have wide midfielders that are doing the exact same thing that the central midfielders were in the 4-3-2-1. Especially after post-patch where possession is just really weird, defending's really weird. Formations like these are going to basically allow for you to distribute the ball a lot more consistently and safely, while also just making the game fun to begin with because you're going to be attacking in ways that you've never attacked before, and it's going to be so much more fun. But yeah, that's all when it comes to the I almost said 4. The 3-4-2-1. Hope you guys have fun with this formation because I can tell you right now I've had the most fun that I've had playing this game so far with this formation. So I want you to go out there right now, play this in your weekend league, tell me how it goes in the comments. Other than that, like, subscribe, like I said, comment, join the Discord in our description, follow me on Twitter, do whatever you need to do. Just play this formation, hurry up. But that's all. See y'all.